All right. I will be up for just a few more minutes to see if I get some more reading requests. I wanted to talk about something, and I think that this is very, very interesting. Um, I believe that when you step into your path, like the left hand path, okay, when you step in to your path and you start to discover your power, I believe that you do open the door. You open the door to all kinds of different types of beings. And I do not believe at all that the only types of beings that are walking around here are human. I believe that there are different species of aliens walking this earth. I'm a little confused about why your spirituality opens the door to these other beings. But I think that it is very telling, and they're very slick in the way that they move. But when you pay close attention to them, they don't behave like normal women. I don't believe that we are amongst, especially with it being online, I don't believe that everybody online is exactly all the way human or shares the same DNA. Like, as far as the same DNA type, right? What is interesting about them is that for me, I am an empath, and I think that empaths are like an extreme threat to very malevolent spirited people or beings. Because what ends up happening is that their energy is so disturbing. It's a very disturbing energy. Very disturbing to where you feel like you automatically go on the defense. They hide behind men while they attack women. So, for example, there's one, she looks like a female, kind of manly. She looks like a female, but her energy feels like a parasite or a leech. And there was a ritual that I did actually that stopped her from feeding off of me energetically. This chick was just feeding off of my life force and other people's life forces. She was just feeding off of our life force, like, the feeding was so bad that you almost have to take your energy back, right? Because we all know that there are some people that are draining. And see, I noticed that even my energy kind of changes because I've went live like several times today. But that's not my fault. That's because of their energy. And I believe that they make contact with us via the internet. And their energy is very, very disturbing. It's not the same as yours. I mean, if you come from a different bloodline, you're already different. All of us ain't cousins, as what it says in the Bible, or as how they interpret it in the Bible. We ain't all cousins. I don't believe that. Okay. And so when I recognize somebody as being off, The energy is very off. They almost have this vortex around them that just pulls and pulls and pulls. And see, that ritual that I did is very, very good because there was an attempt to feed, like I said yesterday morning. I woke up and I could feel maybe 0.5% of what they were trying to do. And keep in mind that you have to be careful of people that are afraid of herbs, because there's this herbal soap that I made. I showed you guys it the other day. It's got mugwort. I put all kind of stuff up in there. I put mugwort. I put skull cap in it. I put uh, calendula. I put chamomile in it. You know what I'm saying? There was a few other herbs that I put in there. And, mugwort is essential because what it does is it clears you of negative energies. Some of these beings will factually raise the blood pressure as well as raise the blood sugar. Okay, but mainly it's the blood pressure. And mugwort lowers your blood pressure. So in fact, using bar soap from the store can actually raise up the blood pressure. Everybody knows that. So sometimes it's best to use the herbal soaps. So I made like a whole big batch of it, one to keep personally for myself and the other to give, to my clients as gifts. Very, very off-putting. So one of them, and they disguise themselves. They try to make it seem like they're in some kind of competition over a man, but that has nothing to do with it. So they try to make it seem like the energy that and it's like a spiritual narcissism without them even doing it. They try to make it seem like their energy is so off-putting because you're scared or whatever over this man. But honestly, in all of my years, and this just started, I had never ever, I've never felt this way, and I haven't, these people never made me feel that way. But it was always, all of a sudden, it was, oh, this person is scared that somebody's going to steal her man. I can honestly say that I've never feared that. First of all, even if I loved a man very much, I wouldn't fear that, right? But they disguise themselves. Really, the energy that you are feeling is this spiritual attack. And so one of them, I have certain signs that I will get within my mind and my body. And you can sense it, like one of the females, her energy will sort of, it'll feel like a backwards flip, sort of. And it'll feel like it's dizziness, but it's something else. And so the first time I had felt it was like a year and a half ago, and it was really, really strong. The second time I felt it, it was very, very weak. Okay, it was very, very weak. Um, then there's this other one, and what her energy did one time, and my spirits hurried up and cleared that up, was that I felt like I was on the verge of an anxiety attack, but I didn't actually have one. And I think the next day she went live and said, I'm going to make Jamila have a heart attack, which is, and I was like, wow. And so first of all, don't worry, this person will never make me have a heart attack. But I think it's interesting the way they operate, and they're always trying to work through or behind a man. And so here's how I feel about it and how I handle it spiritually. I move that man out of the way. Let me move this man out of the way so I can handle you. That's the way you got to be with the situation, because I'm telling y'all, all of these people walking around here do not have human DNA. They don't. I'm just telling you. And, they don't get sidetracked because they think that, because when I confronted them on my other channel, the first thing that they tried to do was try to bring up this man. No, this man has nothing to do with my beef with you. My beef with you is the fact that you either tried to feed off of me energetically, or either you try to do some other kind of harm to me. But why isn't an attack on women and children? Why is that always apparent? But then again, they're attacking everybody. But they're very out in the open. And so one gift that I've noticed that they have is that they do have the gift of mind control. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell y'all which is something. Y'all factually have the power to bind their powers of mind control. It takes one simple thing, a lemon. Now, I can't tell you what you got to do with that lemon, but it takes what lemons destroy them, destroys their power, can even bind them. Okay. And then of course mugwort, because that's how they work, is through the mind. And I think that people need to be careful because, I've had experiences to where, I've had people angry for nothing. Like, and I believe that they focus on, sort of attacking the people around you. You know what I'm saying? To it, like, and I believe that they recognize each other. They recognize that your DNA is different than theirs. Your DNA is probably a lot more complicated than theirs. Your intelligence level is a lot higher than theirs, because a lot of the things that they'll say, I mean, imagine a 20 or a 30 or a 40-year-old woman, and the mentality is to talk about a small child. Think about how abnormal that is. So the intelligent or the mental capacity is not there. And I believe that these are lower life forms than especially a witch. And I do believe that they target witches as well. They do it all the time. And it's not just me that they target. Like, they're targeting all of you witches on here. And some of y'all know that they're targeting you. You just don't say anything. And, they don't have a man to hide behind when it comes to y'all. Okay? I think that if somebody tells you, and see, when I say doing work on you, doing work don't always mean somebody did a spell on you. It's not a spell. It's an influence, right? It's an influence. And so I think that when you have someone that refuses to listen to you, I'd say just put protection around them anyway. They will do any and everything to try to make you angry, but you still put protection around your loved ones. You don't get so angry at your loved ones that you don't put protection around them. Okay, because they will try to It's so weird, and because they think they're smart and they're not smarter than we are, because we have a capacity to love. Okay, we have the ability to love. That's probably one of your greatest strengths. Okay. And so it's really strange the way they are trying to get us to behave like humanoids or something, or non-humanoids is what I meant to say. They want, they don't really understand our way of thinking. They don't understand us because they think differently. And they're out there and they're walking around. And when you look at them, like a lot of the times they're hiding the way that they look. They're hiding certain things about themselves. You always have to see them in the dark, or either it'll be something very, very funny about the way that they look, very off-putting about the way that they look. This is very different than how everybody says that the standard of beauty is white. No, they are like, literally, it can look like a friggin' Ewok, and they're trying to tell you that it's beautiful, right? Like, I'm not roasting, okay? Even though I'm a natural comedian, I'm not roasting. But what I'm saying is that they can literally look like a freaking alien, or something that is out of this world, and they're trying to force sort of their beauty and their standards onto other people. And I'm not talking about like the white standard of beauty. I'm talking about this other, and I'm talking about also the way that a woman carries herself, the way that a woman behaves, the way that a woman talks. Women are very specific. They cannot change it. They are trying to change it. And that's a problem, because when a woman is either raising her voice, or either the pitch of her voice goes up because she feels threatened in some kind of way, or if she's angry at a man, it will always be that way. The woman is always going to say, "What are you doing? I need to discuss this with you." She's going to communicate with him the urgency of the situation. They are trying to act as though women need to say, no, that's not the way women have communicated. In fact, and I gotta go in a few minutes. In fact, it is within a woman's power. Okay, doesn't mean, no, Trinity, I can't drop the link. Doesn't mean that the woman has to be yelling and screaming all the time. Like, that's a bit excessive. But when it's time, a woman has to speak up. And so they're trying to spread this virus of docility to the divine feminine, even when her children are in danger, even when her husband is in danger, even when her family is in danger. No, that's not the way that it works. If somebody was trying to do harm to you, are you going to act like a docile feminine woman, or are you going to go into, or and it shouldn't even be needed. No woman should ever have to even think about defending herself, spiritually or otherwise, but unfortunately we do. But for example, if there was a physical threat to you and you had to fight or do what you got to do to survive, are you going to be docile and non-aggressive? I mean, you may have to do that for a few minutes to fool or trick somebody and say, "Hey, you know," but then you subdue them, right? But you're not gonna, you're not gonna be like, "Okay, please, my name is Olive Oil. I'm just a little docile woman." Nobody's gonna do that. Okay, and we shouldn't be expected to do that. So, for example, and men have accepted this, but a lot of times, it's not to say that a woman's got to be yelling and screaming at you all the time, but I think that if it's some kind of danger, and a man, like if a man was getting ready to walk off of a damn cliff, you're not going to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, sir," but you're getting, "Oh shit, he fell off the cliff." You're going to say, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing? Get away from that cliff." You're not gonna say, "Oh, sorry, it's all right. He ain't gonna be able to hear you. So we gotta stop with all of that. Not when I'm having to resurrect your butt every day. That's all I gotta say. Trinity, I gotta go. I'm not gonna be here long, and I came here to make a point on what I was saying. So I'm sorry. Contact me privately then. Most women are built. They're built like that. They're not gonna. Not even just women. There was a man that ran his car into a Christmas parade last year. And they just sentenced him. They convicted him for the murder of 5 people. I think it was 5 or 6 people that he ran down in this parade. Y'all are going to realize that there are non humans in this world. And I understand that, for example, and they've been talking about him, Kanye West, and he made a song about an alien. I'll actually like that song. But I think people need to be careful because I believe that some of these aliens mean to do you harm. They mean to do you harm. Okay. And, I believe that you have to always follow your intuition. That would be just like if somebody strange walked up to your door and you felt like, I shouldn't let this person in my house, then you should never question your judgment sometimes. Okay. Yeah, Cloud9. His name was Daryl Brooks. He ran his mother's SUV into this Christmas parade. And I was thinking about that earlier, but hold on a second, guys. Yeah, guys, I gotta go tend to something real quick. Um, yeah, I gotta tend to something real quick. Um, I made this anti-mind control oil, and it's been steeping for quite some time. And we need things like that, to anoint our bodies in, because I believe that, they're doing the most and they're really, really ornery, nasty, And so I think that in that case, This is when, like it's not death magic, like they're literally trying to do some kind of like weird mind control and stuff. And I believe that it's coming from these beings. And I believe that number one, you have to know what they're up to. You have to stop being so closed-minded. I believe that that's the problem. And is people that are closed-minded. And so mind control can be a gift of a witch. It can be, but I think that when it's so powerful and strong to where it's causing people to commit suicide and kill others and things of that nature, I think that it's a problem. Yeah, I know she did, but I'm about to go. I got some things I got to take care of, so I'm not coming over. I got some things to do, and then I'm going to bed. So yeah. So my whole point that I'm making about this situation is that when it comes to these types of beings, you have to understand that they do exist. And I understand that everybody wants to be normal, everybody wants to, but it's not like that anymore. And yeah, if you have like, because, and I can tell you that you have to have some kind of spiritual defense against people like that, against entities like that, because it's a literal entity. Okay. Okay, Trinity. Thank you for the donation. So, I wanted to talk about that. I especially when, I understand that there are beings on this earth that are different, but I think that when they are obviously very harmful people, I think that that's when when you have that clarity. Okay, when you have that clarity, that's when you have to devise a plan to get and keep those people out of your head, as well as your life, your astral space. They got to go and you got to keep them out of there. Okay. And there's a lot of things on the earth that really help with that. And I've noticed that, what I noticed before I go, I'm going to say this. I've noticed that during times where I've noticed that they're like feeding or something, I noticed that all of a sudden the grocery stores will run out of lemons, which means that a lot of people know about lemons and how it's not that they can't eat lemons, it's just that there are certain rituals that you can do with lemons. I think it's the acid in the lemon. Okay. If you mix it with other things, then you can literally stop and block that process that they do. But yeah. So y'all know when y'all see those cute little videos of people doing lemon bindings, those are extremely powerful. Problem is that a lot of humans that have underdeveloped powers cannot fight them. I think that some people just, you got to check on people, because there's some people that, they get, and here's the thing that I notice is that they don't necessarily say what they want straight out. They don't necessarily say what they want straight out, but I feel like what they can do is they can communicate with you while having a whole other intent in their head. But while you're accepting that communication, something else is going in. And, this is how they're able to, put in people's heads that, they got to kill somebody or kill themselves and all that crazy mess. That's one of the reasons why I can't stand that black sector, because I know that it's some aliens running that sector. It ain't a witch. I was wrong about that. That's a damn alien running that sector. That is a very, very, very malignant, malevolent alien running that sector. And that damn thing can't stand me. And it ain't none of the people that's in that sector. It's something that, well, it's a few of them, but they're mainly female. They're mainly female that are like, so it's really a trip. They'll convince you that, you have to be cool with them in order to survive in life. Really? That's so funny. So y'all be careful out there. I'm gonna cloud nine. I'm gonna talk more about that Daryl Brooks. Oh my God. I'm worried about that judge, and I hope that she went and cleansed herself, because I don't believe that he was human. It's something about him that just was very off-putting. Okay, just what he did, like what he did was pretty ruthless. Daryl Brooks, what he did was very, very ruthless. But like, it was the whole thing in the courtroom. The way his baby mama looked and just his attitude. Literally, like, some of these people are not exactly, uh, you know, all the way human. Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to say. You don't have to be frightened of them. I would not dare be afraid of them at all. But I think that people need to know that, because I believe that they can alter or manipulate the reality that you see, that some people can see. They can alter or manipulate reality. Okay. And they'll have you seeing, thinking, and feeling things that aren't even real. Very, very interesting. Okay. And some of them will act like, oh, I'm special or whatever. But in reality, they suffering. In reality, there's a great suffering, because, after a while, people that have been around them, it's hard for them to keep people wanting to be around them. And I think that they are extremely lonely. Like, not like the way sometimes human beings can feel lonely. Like, oh, I need somebody to talk to. You know what I'm saying? But they are lonely to this, in the sense that, they kind of feel like they really, really feel like they don't belong here. And I think that witches exacerbate this feeling in them, because witches are so connected with nature. And I think that that's why they have a hatred for witches. Okay. But I gotta go, you guys. I got some things I gotta take care of, and then I'm gonna go to bed. So if you're being fed off on, fed off of, you just have to admit it. They just kind of drain you of everything to the point where you just feel empty. you know and so that's what I use my block and delete button for. You know what I'm saying? And they love to be in the computers. They love to be on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Which, not saying that people that love to be on the internet are aliens or whatever, but, they like to operate through the internet. Okay, that's kind of how they get their victims. You know what I'm saying? And I do believe that they have an intent to kill people. So be careful out there, y'all. Okay? Be careful out there, especially if they're an attachment. I stated that it may have something. Thank you, goddess. Thank you, goddess. Oh my goodness, y'all. Y'all have no idea. Okay. Oh God. Mm-mm-mm. I wish I could tell y'all all my stories, but I can't. I can't tell y'all all my stories. Okay. So so what I can tell you is that they are gonna disappear. Like they'll be here today, gone tomorrow, because I believe that they on their way out. They on their way out, y'all. That's really what I believe. And I think that this is the year for it. And for some reason, you can tell like y'all don't fear Halloween, but they seem to be hiding behind it. Nobody actually fears Halloween. They do because it's something special that's going to happen that day. Okay? There's something special. So y'all make sure y'all let y'all ancestors in. Don't let them in. Y'all be letting them in before you let your ancestors in. And your ancestors is the one that fought them, battled them in before and won. They know your ancestors quite well because your ancestors battled them and won. Okay? And don't y'all forget that. I never forget in 2019 when on Halloween and my ancestors, they were just, oh my goodness gracious. They were phenomenal. They were phenomenal the way that they just had their arms wrapped around me. You could just feel it. You could just feel it. And, it was like a safe, it was like my house was a safe, and my house still is a safe house. It still is. Wherever I go, my ancestors go. Okay? So anyway, y'all, I will see y'all later. Peace and love. I ain't gonna bother y'all no more because I kind of went live. Well, I didn't really go live that many times. I was talking about many, many different things, but I will catch all of y'all later. Okay. Have a good evening. Blessings.